You ever had a coworker so consistently awful, so wildly entitled, that you start wondering if they're part of some kind of corporate social experiment? Because that's Karen. Not a Karen. The Karen. The one who struts into the office like she invented spreadsheets, drinks from other people's mugs like she's taste testing the peasants, and speaks with the authority of someone who's read exactly half a self-help book titled, How to Manipulate Your Coworkers into Doing Your Job. And guess who sits 2 cubicles down from her? Yep, yours truly. I'm Mark. Mid-30s, marketing analyst, reasonably sane, before Karen, coffee addict, definitely because of Karen, and the unwilling victim of this glitter bomb saga. It all started small. You know how it goes. She'd accidentally grab my pens, my notebooks, my lunch once, which she claimed she thought was hers because, and I quote, "We both eat sandwiches, Mark, chill." Mine was roast beef with horseradish. Hers was vegan tofu lettuce wrap. Honest mistake, right? I tried talking to her. Multiple times. Hey Karen, could you stop taking my snacks out of the desk drawer? I'm just borrowing. We're a team, Mark. Ever heard of sharing? I almost admired the audacity. Almost. The thing about Karen is, she's like mold in a shower. Persistent, oblivious to subtle hints, and only gets worse when ignored. She had this smarmy smile, the kind that says, I've never been wrong in my life, and you can't prove otherwise. And management? Oh, they loved her. Mostly because she knew how to talk the talk. Fluff her resume with just enough buzzwords to make it sound like she invented marketing strategy. When in reality, half her reports were plagiarized from my work. That's not me being petty. That's just Monday. Now, I'm not a vindictive person. I'm a reasonable man. I tried being civil, tried letting it go. I even started hiding my better snacks behind the printer, until Karen somehow sniffed out my emergency Pringles like a bloodhound. And then came the Coke incident. I'd left a cold can of Coca-Cola on my desk while I went to refill my water. I was gone for maybe 2 minutes, tops. I come back, and there's Karen, sitting at my desk, drinking my Coke, with the smugness of someone who thinks rules are for ugly people. Oh, hey Mark, she said, wiping her mouth. Hope you don't mind. I needed the caffeine. Big client meeting today. I did mind. I minded so hard it gave me a stress twitch in my left eyelid that lasted 3 days. That was the moment. The turning point. That was when I knew. If I didn't do something, this woman would eventually start taking my shoes and claiming they were team property. So I got online. And let me tell you, the internet is a magical place when you're furious, slightly petty, and have a credit card. I found exactly what I needed. It looked like a regular Pringles can, down to the foil seal and the cheerful red label. But hidden inside was a spring-loaded mechanism designed by what I can only assume was a retired special effects technician and a vengeful kindergartner. The second the lid popped, it would explode in a cloud of fine, clingy glitter and an invisible ultraviolet dye. Not harmful, not permanent, but very, very visible under UV light. A harmless prank. A little mess. And exactly the kind of chaos Karen deserved. I waited. Patiently. Like a hunter. Or a cat near a laser pointer. I placed the trap right where I knew she'd find it. In the bottom drawer of my desk. It's the same drawer she always accidentally opens while looking for extra post-its, or a working pen, or whatever excuse she made that day to rummage through my things. And like a raccoon to a trash can, she couldn't resist. Now, here's the delicious twist. The very next day, Karen had a huge client meeting. Not just any client, the client. We're talking suits, pens that cost more than my rent, and the kind of people who call everyone darling and mean it as an insult. And Karen? Oh, she'd been bragging about it all week. How only she was polished enough to handle them. How she was the face of the company. How? And this is a direct quote. If we land this contract, it'll be because of me, obviously. Naturally, she strutted into the office that morning wearing a blazer that looked like it cost more than my laptop and heels that clicked like gunshots. She'd even curled her hair. And that's when the universe, and the Pringles can, said, let's have some fun. Now, office mornings are usually dull. Coffee, yawns, passive-aggressive Outlook replies. But this morning had a strange electricity to it. Like the air before a thunderstorm, or a reality TV fight about to erupt. Karen had been floating around the office like a queen ready for her coronation. "These clients are very discerning," she said loudly near the copier. "They asked for me specifically. Not everyone can handle high-pressure negotiations." "Sure, Karen. And I'm the Pope." Meanwhile, I was at my desk, sipping my own coffee, because I'd hidden it in a drawer she hadn't discovered yet, and doing my best not to smirk. Because the trap was armed and ready, baby, locked and loaded. And knowing Karen's habits like I know the alphabet, I figured she'd go snooping before her meeting, looking for a quick snack, maybe something with just a little salt. She wouldn't be able to resist the can. And oh boy, she did not disappoint. It was 9:46 a.m. when it happened. Yes, I checked. I wanted to remember this moment forever. Karen strutted into the break room, adjacent to my desk, as if it were her private salon. She opened the fridge, scoffed at someone's yogurt, rolled her eyes at the sad communal celery. Then, like a moth to a sparkly, reputation-destroying flame, she turned toward my desk. I kept my eyes on my screen, but peeked just enough to see her open the bottom drawer. Her eyes lit up. "Oh, what's this?" she said, loudly, as if anyone cared. "Looks like someone's hiding treats." She picked up the Pringles can. I could practically hear the choir of angels warming up. "Don't mind if I do," she added with a self-satisfied grin. Swoosh thwomp. The sound was majestic, like a glittery sneeze from the gods. In one glorious second, a fountain of fine, gold glitter burst out of the can and hit her square in the face. It shimmered. It sparkled. It clung to her like her last shred of dignity. But that wasn't all. The ultraviolet paint, invisible under regular light, sprayed out in a fine mist, coating her face, hair, hands, even her expensive blazer. It wouldn't show immediately, but once she got near strong sunlight, oh mama. For a moment, there was silence. Karen stood there, frozen, eyes wide, mouth open, a human disco ball of regret and poor decision-making. Then, "What the hell?" she screamed like she'd just discovered her ex-boyfriend on a date with her therapist. People started poking their heads out of cubicles. One of the interns gasped. Someone near the printer actually applauded. Jason from accounting filmed the whole thing on his phone and whispered, "This is better than Netflix." Karen flailed, trying to wipe the glitter off, which only spread it more. Now her entire face looked like a craft store had exploded during prom season. Who did this? This is sabotage. I took a slow sip of my coffee and said, very calmly, "Karen, did you go into my desk again?" Her eyes locked on me like I'd personally kicked her cat. "It was booby-trapped, Mark." "Well, yeah," I replied, "because someone keeps stealing my stuff." She opened her mouth, then shut it, then opened it again, like a Wi-Fi signal trying to connect. And then the worst possible thing happened, for her, anyway. The clients arrived. 3 of them, all suits, all very polished. They walked in through the main door, briefcases in hand, and paused just long enough to see Karen standing in the center of the office, covered in golden glitter and looking like a bedazzled banshee. Karen's eyes went wide. She gasped and ran. Now, any normal person would have taken 5 minutes, cleaned up, rescheduled the meeting. Not Karen. Because Karen, in all her overconfident glory, had decided she was too important to delay. She ran to the conference room, still trying to pat herself down, muttering about cleaning spray and this stupid office, then shoved open the door like she was storming the beaches of Normandy. From my desk, I had a perfect view. The clients turned toward her. One blinked. One leaned back. And the third, a guy in a pinstripe suit with just enough sarcasm in his voice to earn my eternal admiration, said, "Oh, we weren't told Cleopatra herself would be leading negotiations." Karen froze. A twitch. A slow blink. You could almost see her brain buffering. There was an incident," she stammered, brushing at her blazer. It's not what it looks like." Unfortunately for her, it was exactly what it looked like. A sparkle-drenched meltdown in a $300 blazer with the grace of a raccoon in a glitter factory. Still, to her credit, Karen tried to keep going. She smiled through clenched teeth and launched into the pitch. Voice tight, hands shaking, posture rigid. Then came the final nail. She walked to the whiteboard to draw a revenue projection right next to the sunlit window. And that's when the UV paint activated. Her blazer glowed. Her face lit up like a haunted rave. Swirls, splatters, streaks of neon purple and electric blue shimmered in glorious, humiliating detail. One client literally dropped his pen. Another whispered, "What the F?" under his breath. And then they all lost it. Laughter. Full-on, gut-clutching, wheezing laughter. Karen just stood there, hand halfway to the whiteboard, frozen in horror. One of the clients wiped a tear from his eye and said, "We're sorry. We can't take this seriously right now. We'll need to reschedule." And just like that, they walked out. Karen? She didn't move. She just stood there, glowing and glittering, the sound of laughter echoing in her ears. And that, my friends, was when the boss arrived. When our boss, Doug, walked in, coffee in hand, Bluetooth headset in his ear, and as usual, "I've already had 3 meetings and it's not even 11 a.m. face. He had no idea he was about to witness the most dramatic plot twist this office had ever seen. He stepped into the hallway just in time to see the clients walking out. Without papers, without handshakes, without Karen. He narrowed his eyes. "Why are they leaving?" he asked, voice sharp. I gave him a perfectly innocent shrug. Something about being unable to focus during the meeting. Doug raised a brow, already suspicious. And then, as if summoned, Karen burst out of the conference room. Picture it. A woman, mid-meltdown, glitter shimmering under every fluorescent light, face aglow like she just walked through a rave in a thunderstorm, eyes wild with panic. Doug stared at her. The silence that followed was glorious. He blinked. Then again, his jaw twitched, like he wasn't sure whether to scream or laugh. "Karen, what the hell happened to you?" Karen tried, really tried, to gather herself. She brushed at her face, which only smeared more purple glitter down her cheek, and said in the most Karen-y voice imaginable, "Mark set a trap. He's been sabotaging me. I opened a Pringles can and it exploded. He did this on purpose." Doug turned to me, eyes wide with "Please tell me this isn't real." I held up both hands and said, "I just left a can in my desk." She went through my stuff. Again, Karen screeched. Literally screeched. Like a fire alarm had merged with a soap opera villain. "You set me up." "No," I replied, calm as a monk. "I set up a deterrent. You just happened to trigger it. Kinda proves the point, doesn't it?" The office was dead silent. And then, from the far corner, someone whispered, barely audible, but powerful, "She's like a bedazzled supervillain." Doug exhaled, long and slow, as if purging every poor life decision that led him to this moment. "Karen," he said, "go wash your face." I tried. "It won't come off." "Then go home and figure it out. You're scaring the interns." Karen gaped. "I have to reschedule the client meeting." Doug pinched the bridge of his nose. "You mean the clients who just walked out of here looking like they'd survived an episode of Punk'd? You're lucky they didn't call HR." Her mouth opened, probably to start gaslighting the entire universe, but Doug raised a hand. "Nope, not today. You're off the project." Karen froze. "What?" "Doug, no. I did all the work. That was my cue." I stood up. "Actually, I wrote the pitch deck. The projections. The client brief. You changed the font." Doug looked between us. "Is that true?" I nodded. "Check the file history. Everything's time-stamped." Karen flailed, eyes darting like a cornered raccoon. "But I coordinated. I ran the meetings." Doug turned to her with the weariness of a man who's seen too much glitter for one fiscal quarter. "You ran this meeting. Into the ground." There was a beat. Then another. And then, the cherry on top. "You're off the project. Mark's taking the lead. And considering the chaos you've caused today, you're taking a 1-week unpaid leave. Effective immediately." Karen's face. Oh, her face. If expressions could slap people, hers would have been a lawsuit. Rage. Shock. Betrayal. Glitter. She opened her mouth, probably to argue, or threaten, or pull some classic Karen magic like demanding to speak to herself as the manager, but Doug just pointed to the door. 1 week. "Karen, go." She stormed off, heels clicking, blazer sparkling, muttering something about hostile environments and legal action. The door slammed behind her. And then, the entire office erupted. Applause. Actual applause. People were grinning, laughing. Jason from accounting started chanting "Glitter Queen." Someone pulled out a Bluetooth speaker and blasted "Shine Bright Like a Diamond" for about 10 glorious seconds before Doug gave them the look. And me? I sat down, calm, collected, triumphant. Doug walked over, his expression still half bewildered. "Did you really booby-trap a Pringles can?" "Technically, yes. But I like to think of it as a learning opportunity." He stared for a moment, then smirked. "Don't ever do that again." "Of course not." Spoiler, I already had 3 more on order. You know that feeling when you open your inbox and there isn't a single message from Karen demanding you circulate her talking points or spruce up the data she already finished. Yeah, that. Pure bliss. Her unpaid week off was the quietest, most productive stretch our office had seen in months. Projects got done. Meetings stayed on schedule. The printer, for the first time since 2019, wasn't jammed with revised Karen-approved memos no one asked for. And the best part? The glitter kept giving. See, Jason from accounting, bless him, had uploaded the video to his private group chat, just to share the laugh. But as these things go, it spread. Fast. First to the floor upstairs. Then someone sent it to their cousin who worked in HR. By day 3, it was everywhere. And no, it didn't have her name attached, but the title said it all. Marketing manager goes supernova after stealing Sparkle Trap snack. Must watch. The comments? Chefs. Freaking. Kiss. The scream. I felt that in my soul. Who needs fireworks when you've got Karen's glitter detonation? Plot twist. The can was the only thing in that office with a work ethic. I didn't post it. I didn't even like it. But I watched it a solid 20 times. For research, Doug called me into his office later that week. He didn't look mad. So, about the video. Wasn't me. Didn't say it was. Just, let's keep the rest of the snack traps theoretical, alright? Fair enough. But Doug wasn't the only one who noticed. By the time Karen got back, freshly scrubbed, visibly humbler, but still radiating a dangerous level of misplaced confidence, the office had changed. For one, people were smiling. Like, genuinely smiling. The Friday before she returned, we all had lunch together in the break room. Someone brought cupcakes. Someone else brought actual plates. It was weird. Nice weird. But when Karen strutted back in, like she'd just returned from exile, reality hit her like a leftover glitter cloud. The vibe had shifted. She wasn't feared. She wasn't respected. She was a punchline. It started subtly. Someone left a mini glitter bottle on her desk. As a gift. Her new mouse pad? Magenta. Covered in sequins. You sparkle under pressure. Her favorite mug? Mysteriously replaced with one that read, "Shine bright like a Karen." And it didn't stop there. During a Monday morning stand-up, when she tried to reassert herself, claiming she'd coordinate our next pitch, Doug interrupted her. "Actually, Mark's leading that now. He's the one who landed the client after they came back." Yeah, that's right. The clients did come back. Turns out, once the glitter-induced giggles wore off, they realized the presentation materials were solid, thanks to, well, me. I met them the following Monday. Clean. Prepared. Decently unsparkly. We shook hands, shared a polite laugh about last week's incident, and signed the deal by noon. Karen didn't say a word when the announcement went out. Doug CC'd the whole team with the subject line. Contract secured. Great work, Mark. But that wasn't the real dagger. The real dagger was the group chat. Someone, probably HR Molly, she's low-key savage, added Karen to a new Slack channel called #ShiningStars. It was meant for team wins. The first post? A photo of a cleaned-up Pringles can with a sticky note. For emergencies only, Karen proofed. Karen saw it. She didn't laugh. But the rest of us? Oh, we howled. And while she tried to slink back into her role, something had shifted permanently. She was no longer the queen bee. She was a glittery cautionary tale. The sparkle jokes came daily. "Karen, do you want to shine in this project? Hope this report doesn't explode with creativity. Let's light up the client meeting, shall we?" It was constant and passive-aggressively beautiful. You could see her shrinking more and more every day. And then, About 2 weeks later, it happened. She quit. No announcement. No farewell email. No awkward cake in the break room. She just cleared her desk, muttered something about toxic work culture, and disappeared. Probably to torment another office that didn't yet have a glitter-triggered alarm system. We watched her leave. Jason whispered, "There goes the sparkle." I replied, "May she forever shimmer in silence." The office breathed a collective sigh of relief. Projects ran smoother. Morale lifted. I got promoted. And nobody's snacks were mysteriously vanishing anymore. Justice hadn't just been served. It was dusted with gold flakes and sealed with a snap. You'd think that after Karen's grand glitter exit, things would settle into boring office life again. Spreadsheets, budget meetings, lukewarm coffee. And sure, some of that came back. But something had changed. Something big. People were happy. The office was lighter, not just emotionally, but literally. With Karen gone, it was like someone opened a window and let the toxic air out. No more motivational lectures about leaning in harder. No more stolen snacks. No more work mysteriously becoming team efforts right before presentations. I could breathe. Doug called me into his office again a few days after she left. "Mark," he said, hands folded like he was trying to be very professional about something hilarious. "I just want to make sure we don't have any more explosive snacks in circulation." I grinned. "I've retired from glitter warfare." "Probably." He nodded slowly. "Probably. Unless absolutely necessary." He sighed, then chuckled. "Fair. Honestly, part of me thinks I should have stocked the whole kitchen with those cans 6 months ago." We both laughed. And that's when he said it. "You know, you've always done great work. But this, taking initiative, locking down that client after all that chaos, that sealed it." He slid a piece of paper across the desk. "Promotion, title bump, pay raise, bonus." Turns out the real reward for outsmarting a corporate Karen wasn't just peace, it was recognition. Actual, earned, legitimate credit for my work. No one else's name on it. No last-minute edits by someone who just added bullet points and called it leadership. Now that was satisfying. But the best part? Karen's legend didn't die quietly. Over the next few weeks, the story of the glitter trap spread like office wildfire. Even teams from other branches started emailing us with variations of, "Is it true someone got exploded with glitter during a pitch?" And thanks to Jason's now slightly viral video, she became a myth. Her new nicknames? The Glitter Witch of Finance, Queen Sparkle Disaster, Karen the Radiant. Someone printed out a still frame from the video, her mid-scream, glitter in the air, and put it on the back of the bathroom door with the caption, "Corporate Karma, caught on tape." HR tried to take it down. It kept reappearing. And in this office, we remember, every now and then, when a new hire joins, someone gives them the talk. Don't take food that isn't yours. Don't fake your reports. And whatever you do, don't touch Mark's desk. They always ask why. We just point to the cabinet above the microwave, where the now empty glitter can sit on a shelf like a trophy. Karen's legacy. Shiny, legendary, and very, very gone. A little epilogue. Some people asked me if I ever heard from her again. I did. Once. About 2 months after she quit, she sent an all-company email, reply all, of course, saying she'd found a more fulfilling opportunity aligned with her vision of leadership. No one responded. Well, except Jason. He replied with a gif of someone exploding out of a glitter bomb. I almost fell out of my chair. Moral of the story? Never steal from your coworkers. And never, ever, mess with someone who knows how to weaponize glitter. Thank you for being with us. Please share in the comments where you are watching from and whether you liked everything, and see you next time.